Did Joe Rogan just drop the revelation that turns every conspiracy upside down? Because according to a leaked recording that mysteriously appeared in his inbox at 3 a.m., Charlie Kirk, the man everyone thought was dead, is very much alive. But here's the twist. This footage wasn't supposed to exist. No timestamp, no metadata, and allegedly ripped from a classified surveillance server before vanishing into the digital abyss. Who sent it to Joe? Why now? And why does Charlie look scared? Y'all, this isn't just another rumor. This might be the biggest political resurrection the internet's ever seen. When Joe Rogan started his podcast episode that morning, nobody expected the words that came out of his mouth to send half of the internet into meltdown mode. Calmly sipping his black coffee, he leaned into the mic and said, "So, someone sent me something. And if this is real, we're all being lied to." Within seconds, the clip went viral, Reddit threads exploded, Twitter or X, whatever Ellen's calling it now, caught fire. And Telegram groups were spamming screenshots. Like the world was ending. The so-called secret recording allegedly showed none other than Charlie Kirk, the same Charlie Kirk who had been declared dead just 3 months ago, after that mysterious private jet crash near the Nevada desert. His memorial service was live-streamed. His organization even released emotional tributes. People cried, people donated, and people moved on. But now, that same man appeared on camera, breathing, blinking, and looking straight into the lens like someone who knew he wasn't supposed to be seen. Joe didn't reveal who sent it. He just said it came from an encrypted email. No sender name, no IP trail, just one message. They lied about everything. That was all it took for Conspiracy Central to light up. Was Charlie Kirk actually alive? Was his death fake to cover something up? And if so, who benefited from it? Some fans claimed they recognized the background in the clip, a dimly lit bunker-like room with what looked like military-grade equipment. Others swore they saw a reflection of another person behind the camera. Theories ranged from Charlie's in witness protection to he's part of a government cloning project. But here's where things got really suspicious. According to one so-called anonymous tech insider, the footage's original file contained fragments of metadata linked to a federal defense contractor. That's right, the kind of digital footprint you don't just stumble upon. And yet, a copy somehow ended up in Joe Rogan's possession, conveniently timed just as political tensions were heating up again online. And the internet being the internet, everyone became a detective overnight. One TikToker claimed to have enhanced the video and found coordinates hidden in the pixels, which, by the way, turned out to point to an abandoned radio tower in Arizona. Another swore Charlie blinked in Morse code. Like, come on! Who blinks in Morse code? But still, the chaos was pure gold. Hashtags like hashtag Charlie Kirk alive, hashtag Rogan leak, and hashtag fake death files were trending within hours. Meanwhile, right-wing networks went completely silent. No comment, no denial, just eerie silence. And that's what made it even worse. Because when the usual propaganda machines go quiet, that's when people start asking questions. And when Joe Rogan, the man with 15 million listeners, casually drops something like this, you know, it's not going away. According to one of Rogan's producers, who later spoke off record, Joe had been warned not to play the footage on air. They told him it's classified material, the source claimed. They said it could endanger national stability, but Joe's not the type to sit on a story like that. So he did what Joe Rogan does best, he teased it. He gave just enough to drive everyone insane. And oh, did it work? Clips of Joe saying they lied about everything have been remixed into hundreds of conspiracy montages, UFOs, the Illuminati, secret labs, you name it. But the question remains, who sent it? Some people think it was someone from inside Turning Point USA, maybe a whistleblower who realized the fake death story had gone too far. Others think it came straight from a rival podcaster looking to stir chaos. But there's also a darker theory floating around. A few Reddit users claim to have seen an early version of the clip posted on a dark web forum days before Joe Rogan mentioned it. One screenshot, allegedly from that forum, had the caption, "He never died. He was relocated. If that's real, then the recording didn't just fall into Joe's lap. It was planted, and if it was planted, who's pulling the strings? Because if Charlie Kirk is truly alive, that means someone faked a death certificate, staged a crash site, and manipulated national news coverage, all without a single official investigation. That's not a simple PR stunt. That's a cover-up on a global scale. Joe, being Joe, didn't confirm or deny anything else. He just said, "You'll see for yourself soon." But what does soon even mean? Viewers are already demanding he release the footage, but insiders claim he's been advised to hold off until lawyers clear it. Some say the recording is locked in an encrypted drive under studio surveillance. Others claim it's already been copied and distributed to multiple media contacts just in case something happens. Something happens? What does that mean? You see, when people start saying things like that, you know there's more beneath the surface. And right now, Joe Rogan's silence is louder than any statement he could make. Because if this is true, if Charlie Kirk really is alive, then someone somewhere just got caught playing God with public perception, and guess what? This isn't the first time Joe's name has been tied to a political leak. Remember when he hinted about military files during that interview with Snowden's ex-handler? Or when his livestream mysteriously glitched mid-sentence during a classified topic last year? Yeah, now people are connecting those dots. The Rogan-Charlie connection has opened a floodgate of speculation. Some claim Joe was chosen to expose this because of his massive reach. Others think he's being used as a pawn in a bigger information war. Either way, the internet wants answers, and if Joe doesn't talk soon, someone else will. Because in a world where death can be faked, footage can be leaked, and truth can be bought, nothing is ever what it seems. As the internet spiraled into chaos, Joe Rogan did what Joe Rogan always does. He vanished. No new episodes, no tweets, no clarifications, just radio silence. And that silence became the biggest noise online. People started tracking his every move, from paparazzi staking out his Austin studio to Reddit users analyzing flight logs, trying to prove he'd fled the country. But then, 3 days later, an audio clip surfaced, allegedly from Joe's studio itself. The clip, less than a minute long, featured Joe whispering to someone off camera, "If I go missing, the video goes live automatically." The internet collectively lost its mind. Theories exploded. Some said the recording was fake. Others believed it was part of a countdown, that Joe was preparing to release the full footage if anyone tried to silence him, and then came. The frame incident, a viral screenshot, began circulating on Telegram, supposedly from the leaked video itself. In it, Charlie Kirk is standing in front of a steel door, wearing the same navy blue jacket he was last photographed in before his death. His eyes look hollow, his face thinner. And in the corner of the frame, barely visible, is a blurred silhouette, someone holding what appears to be a tablet or control panel. Users zoomed in, enhanced, color-graded, and one chilling detail kept surfacing: the reflection of Joe Rogan's studio logo faintly mirrored on a glass panel behind Charlie. How was that even possible? Was the video recorded inside Joe's studio? Was it edited, staged, or worse, live-streamed through his system without his knowledge? That's when the floodgates burst open. An anonymous post on an underground forum claimed to have partial transcripts from a government surveillance program called Project Emberlight, supposedly tied to political figure protection and psychological reconditioning. The post suggested that Charlie Kirk was placed in protective detainment after a failed intelligence operation, and that the crash was staged to remove him from public record. It even alleged that Joe Rogan was unknowingly looped into the chain of custody for evidence distribution. Sounds insane, right? But remember, this is the internet. Insanity is credibility here. By now, major networks were scrambling. CNN released a short statement calling the footage unverified. Fox News avoided the topic entirely. Meanwhile, podcasters, YouTubers, and TikTok truthers turned the scandal into an Olympic sport. Everyone had their version. One creator swore she found the exact coordinates of Charlie's location in the reflection pattern of the light fixture behind him, somewhere in rural Utah. Another guy, claiming to be an XTSA officer, said he recognized the type of metallic flooring used in government holding sites. And while everyone was busy decoding reflections and coordinates, someone else dropped another bombshell, an alleged internal memo from Turning Point USA's headquarters. The memo, posted anonymously, referenced a media containment strategy for unexpected reemergence events. The timing? Exactly one day after Joe Rogan's first teaser. In that memo, one chilling line stood out: if footage circulates, deny authenticity. Emphasize deepfake possibility. Deepfake. That's the word the establishment always throws around when things get too close to the truth. But the funny thing? For once, tech experts didn't buy it. Several independent analysts who examined the video claimed that the motion and light consistency were too natural for AI generation. One even said if that's a deepfake, it's the most advanced one humanity's ever seen, and that's terrifying. At this point, Joe Rogan's fanbase was in open revolt. They flooded his old clips with comments like, "Post the video, Joe," and "We deserve the truth." Memes flooded Instagram showing Joe in sunglasses with captions like "The man who knew too much" and "Podcast host turned whistleblower." But then, things got darker. A well-known independent journalist, Lexa Monroe, claimed she was contacted by someone offering her the unedited version of the video for a price. According to her tweet, which was deleted 12 minutes later, the seller said the footage came directly from a federal surveillance dump that got wiped days after Rogan's leak. Lexa claimed the video she saw had more than just Charlie Kirk. It apparently featured two other individuals. Faces blurred, one wearing what looked like a government ID badge. 12 minutes later, Lexa's account went dark. All posts deleted. Profile photo gone. Coincidence? The internet didn't think so. Meanwhile, Joe Rogan's producer Jamie quietly scrubbed any mention of the leak from the official podcast description archives. A Reddit user posted proof that an episode listing titled "They Lied About Everything" had been removed from Spotify's backend. Even the cached version disappeared. That's not accidental. That's intentional erasure. Still, the one thing Joe couldn't delete was public curiosity. And that's the one virus no algorithm can stop. Soon, independent data miners started posting what they called digital breadcrumbs, metadata trails, file fragments, cloud sync logs, all leading to one shared origin, an encrypted Google Drive folder under an alias named CK_truth. The folder vanished 30 minutes after being discovered, but screenshots showed over 200 gigabytes of media content. And next to the main file, a text document titled version_7_final. Final of what? Some say it was the last version of the Charlie Kirk footage before being edited for public viewing. Others believe version 7 meant there were 6 earlier takes, suggesting this entire leak was a staged psychological operation designed to test online response to digital resurrection. The deeper you dig, the messier it gets. At this point, online commentators began linking the incident to earlier conspiracy scandals, from fake moon missions to celebrity body doubles. But here's the kicker: every single time people brought up Project Emberlight, their posts started disappearing, shadow banned, flagged, removed for misinformation. Even mainstream journalists admitted their tweets about the Rogan recording were being throttled. And just when the hysteria seemed to peak, another cryptic post appeared on Joe's verified account. No caption, no hashtags, just a single black screen with the words, "You're not supposed to see this." That one post gathered 8 million views in under an hour. Then it disappeared. What was Joe trying to say? Was it a warning, a tease? Or was his account compromised entirely? Nobody knew, but everyone agreed on one thing. This was no ordinary scandal anymore. Something huge was unfolding, and Joe Rogan was either the messenger. By the time Joe Rogan's cryptic black screen post vanished, the entire digital world had gone into full-blown detective mode. Influencers, journalists, hackers, everyone wanted to know the same thing. What happened to Joe? and what's really on that recording. Within 48 hours, online investigators began noticing strange patterns. Joe's old YouTube clips started getting mysteriously demonetized. His interviews with political guests suddenly went temporarily unavailable. Spotify's backend server logs showed maintenance spikes exactly at the timestamps of the leaked video discussions. Coincidence? Please, nothing about this story screamed coincidence anymore. And then came the so-called official response. A joint statement from Turning Point USA and several federal agencies labeled the entire leak as misinformation generated through unauthorized digital manipulation. But the problem was, they said that before any full investigation even began. Too fast, too rehearsed. Almost as if they'd written the denial weeks ago, then a document leaked. Of course it did. This one allegedly from a cybersecurity firm hired by Rogan's team. It detailed unexplained data, anomalies connected to Joe's personal accounts, his studio servers, and a cluster of anonymous IP addresses located near Washington, D.C. The report also included a chilling note: evidence of external interception consistent with government-level intrusion. Let that sink in. Government-level. So not only did Joe get a mysterious video of Charlie Kirk alive, but now it seemed like someone in power was actively trying to erase it. Meanwhile, Reddit and X were flooded with claims from alleged insiders who said the version Joe received wasn't even the original. According to one post, at least 3 copies of the footage existed, one held by an underground journalist network in Germany, another by a cybersecurity activist in Canada, and a third, rumored to be stored in a private cloud belonging to Elon Musk himself. That alone sparked another wave of chaos. Soon, the debate split the internet. Half believed Joe was being silenced for revealing a global cover-up. The other half insisted it was an elaborate psyop, a social experiment designed to test how easily people could be manipulated by deepfakes. And right in the middle of it all, Joe Rogan, silent, missing, nowhere to be found. 3 days later, his podcast's RSS feed updated automatically with a new episode title. The truth will upload itself. No description, no thumbnail, just white noise for the first 3 minutes, and then, faintly, a voice, distorted, whispering. Some fans slowed it down, reversed it, and claimed they heard a robotic version of Joe saying, "They can stop me, but not the truth." Was it him? A warning? No one knew, but right after that episode dropped, an alleged whistleblower, identifying herself only as Maya, appeared on a livestream claiming to be a former employee at one of the agencies monitoring the footage. Her statement shook everything. According to her, the Charlie Kirk video wasn't a fake. It was part of a psychological preservation program run by a private defense firm. She said Charlie was placed in secure containment after refusing to comply with classified data transfers involving political donors. In other words, his death was insurance. When asked why Joe Rogan received the tape, Maya said something that left viewers speechless. He wasn't supposed to get it. The file was meant for someone else. They used a mirrored route through encrypted podcast servers, and his IP matched the intended recipient by accident. An accident. So Joe was never meant to be the messenger, just collateral damage in someone else's digital war. And, as if scripted by fate, within hours of her confession, Maya's stream went offline. Her channel deleted. Her accounts wiped. All traces gone. People began saying this was bigger than Joe, bigger than Charlie, bigger than Turning Point. Some even linked it to global data trafficking operations involving artificial identity reconstruction, a fancy term for cloning both biologically and digitally. Theorists claim Charlie wasn't alive in the human sense, but digitally reanimated through classified neurological mapping. That might sound wild, but so did the idea of the internet once, until it wasn't. Back in Austin, neighbors near Rogan's studio reported strange black SUVs circling the block at night. One witness told a local reporter that men in suits were removing hard drives from the building at dawn. Rogan's official rep denied everything, but insiders whispered that his entire production archive had been seized for national security review. Even more bizarre, a 4-second clip surfaced the next morning, allegedly from Joe's backup camera, showing a man who looked eerily like Charlie Kirk walking down a dim corridor behind the studio. The captions simply read, "He's not gone." By this point, it was no longer about belief. It was about survival of perception. Was Charlie Kirk really alive? Was Joe Rogan part of a global disinformation war? Or was this all one elaborate experiment to see how far they could push our collective sanity? What made it worse is that none of this would be provably real or provably fake. Every trace of evidence vanished seconds after surfacing. Every voice that spoke up went silent. And yet, every silence seemed louder than the truth itself. Days later, Joe Rogan's account reactivated. No posts, no podcasts. Just one line in his bio, "They told you he died." No one knows what that means. Not yet. But sources close to his circle claim he's preparing to go public with everything. Some say he's planning a live stream that will end the illusion once and for all. Others think it's bait, a trap to lure whoever's behind the cover up. Either way, something's coming, because when the world's most outspoken podcaster holds the world's most forbidden video, silence doesn't last forever. And if Charlie Kirk really is alive, then the biggest story in modern political history is about to explode. Nobody was supposed to see. The internet's losing its mind, and this might just be the start of something way bigger. If you want the truth before it disappears, you already know what to do. Subscribe to Lumi Legacy, turn on notifications, and stay locked in, because the next leak could drop any minute. Remember, in this world, nothing goes viral by accident. This is Lumi Legacy, where the truth refuses to stay buried.